All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The Russian forces are advancing towards the Ukrainian capital from the north, west and also from the northeast. A top Ukrainian official has said that Kyiv is effectively now under siege by the Russian military. The Russian artillery also targeted an ammunition depot in the Ukrainian town of Vasil Kyiv, and it is located just on the outskirts of the capital city of Kyiv. This caused hundreds of small explosions. All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what's in fact unfolding in this war in Ukraine, we're joined in by our correspondent Anas Malik, who is joining us live from the capital city of Kyiv and has been getting us all the updates from there. Good morning to you, Anas. Bring us up to speed with what is happening in the capital city of Kyiv. According to reports, there have been several explosions that have been heard since this morning.
Well, yes, Saleh, we've heard a lot of explosions going off around the city of Kyiv. Those smoke balls or fireballs lighting up the sky, the dark sky overnight. And we saw air raid sirens as well going off early in the morning here in the city of Kyiv. That indicated that the war or the battle is just around the gates of the city. It's nearby because explosions could be heard very clearly in the center of the city where I am. Now, the fight is currently about 25 kilometers from where I am in the northeast and in the northwest. In the northeast, the fight is currently ongoing from Brovary side, which goes on towards Chernihiv and adjoins with the Belarusian border. In the northwest, the fight is currently ongoing in Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel and Vorzel areas of the adjoining areas of Kyiv city, and we understand that overnight Ukrainian forces claim to have made rapid progress as well, Saleh.
Right, now also the issue of civilians who are stuck in these conflict zones. Now Russia and Ukraine, we are given to understand, have been speaking and also agreeing on humanitarian corridors. But we also heard from the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who said that in cities like Mariupol, Russia is not actually letting the civilians to get out of the city. Any reports on that front?
Well, we've heard reports, similar reports like that. Of course, independently, it's difficult to verify such reports given the paucity of information that's trickling through from there. But the Ukrainian side has been claiming that the Russian side has been preventing people from getting out of the city of Mariupol, despite the fact that it agreed on a humanitarian ceasefire. Now, the humanitarian ceasefire did, understandably, it did go on for at least 2 days, despite the fact that it was agreed for 3 days. On the first day, we understand that there was shelling being done from either of the sides. Both of the sides had accused each other of violating that ceasefire. But the next 2 days, especially Wednesday and Thursday, the humanitarian ceasefire did persist, and it did lead to massive evacuations as well. And as a reason of which, as I understand, more than 4,000 people from the city of Irpin have been relocated and evacuated to safety. This is what the official statistics say. Even in the city of Kyiv, more than 50% of the population has left the city willingly, as in when the government had given them the window of evacuation. The bigger problem remains is with regards to the artillery supplies for the Ukrainian army, because it struggles to have that much armory backup with it. They are trying to fight with whatever they have, be small arms, big arms, rocket launchers, anti-tank guided missiles, the US given javelins. So they've got a range of armory, but that's not much in terms, if I talk to you about it in quantity. So quantitatively they are struggling, and that is the reason that the Russian side is making progress, because they've got huge and large convoys that are there, and they gave backup to the Russian side while the Ukrainian side tries to resist. Saleh?
Absolutely, indeed. And my last question to you, Anas, is we've been looking at how the Russian convoy that is said to be almost 40 kilometers, 40 miles long, that's been camping on the outskirts of Kyiv. Now, on the ground, what is the chatter amongst the people in Kyiv? Half the population has already left, but still half has stayed back. What are they saying? When do they expect the Russians, if they intend to do so, to carry out an incursion into Kyiv?
Well, the city of Kyiv is gearing up for an assault, it won't be wrong to say, and it's an over the time process. For instance, let's say if a road had 2 checkpoints, today if I would go, it would have 3, and tomorrow it would have 4 checkpoints. Now these checkpoints are not necessarily by the military. These are civilian defense volunteers as well, who have picked up arms, who've been given arms by the government in order to protect. More and more trenches have been turning up, more and more iron rods in order to avoid any tank movement or artillery movement have been turning up on the roads of Kyiv. Then these tire busters you'd see they're there. As I said, more and more camouflages are there. So citizens who have chosen to stay back, they're there in the citizen defense forces or the civilian defense forces, pardon me on that, and the second bit is that they are volunteering in whatever capacity they can. For instance, we went and reported from a medical center. The youth who could not get into the army, they have formed community groups. They're volunteering in order to disperse medication and food to the elderly or to the hospitals as well. In fact, they're also providing military gear such as boots, gloves, and so on, and camouflages to those volunteers who would want to fight with their military. So this goes on to explain that the city of Kyiv is indeed gearing up for an assault which they believe is inevitable, but nobody knows when it is going to come. It can be in days, it can be in hours. It depends upon the Russian military's progress, and for now that has been very dim, given that the Ukrainian forces have been resisting them at bay. Saleh?
All right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Anas Malik, for joining us and getting us all those updates from Kyiv, and do stay safe there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.